Please rise for the arrival of the official party. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be delivered by Captain Stephen M. Coates, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Mighty One, our fortress, girt with a sword upon your side in splendor and majesty, you trained the hands of these sergeants major and their Marines for war, their fingers for battle. Complete now that greater task of making these fleeting shadows bulge with humility's strength, sweaty hands saluting service, steady souls thirsting to lead Marines whose most important battles are won not by sword. Mighty One, our stronghold and keeper, whose sword is drawn, you choose some in order to bless all. So intent on tradition, you placed a flaming sword, flashing back and forth to guard a way. Thank you for the guard rendered by Sergeant Major Black. Chosen he was, not that he might be admired, but that others might be refined. Thank you for the guard pending by Sergeant Major Ruiz. Chosen he is, not to be personally affirmed, but to serve as keeper of traditions for the good of Marines, riflemen all. Am I my brother's keeper? You were first asked. As you are not willing that any should perish, make it clear as a crystal sea that the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps must strap on that sword of sacred trust and guard. Woe to the worthless shepherd who deserts the flock. Steel his resolve to mold all Marines so that the enemies of their souls and the enemies of all that is good might be thoroughly routed. Mighty One, our deliverer and glorious sword, may the Corps Sergeant Major always wield the sword, both as a servant for good and as an agent of wrath to bring punishment on wrongdoing, so that Marines young and old might be like well-watered plants, like pillars supporting a nation, that an entire world might be free, open, prosperous, and secure. No breaching of these walls, no going into captivity, no foreign sword passing through this country, no cry of distress in these streets. And that we might never confuse human excitement with divine strength, nor mistake the pumping of adrenaline for the infusion of your grace. I ask this in the name of that word, living and active, sharper than any double-edged sword, piercing even to dividing soul and spirit, joints and marrow, judging not just our actions, but the thoughts and attitudes of the heart, that all might enter your rest. Amen.
Please be seated. begin our ceremony with a performance by the United States Marine Drum and Bugle Corps. Formed in 1934 and known as the Commandant Zone, the unit celebrates over 88 years of marching and musical excellence while carrying the distinction of being the only drum and bugle corps currently serving in the United States Armed Forces. The unit will open today's concert with a march composed in honor of United States Naval Service personnel whose heroic actions inspired these famous words, "Uncommon Valor." Marine Barracks Washington, D.C. proudly presents the Commandant Zone, United States Marine Drum and Bugle Corps. The concert continues with a Broadway original by Anthony Newley and Leslie Brickus, later reimagined by Michael Bublé, "Feeling Good." concert will close with one of this nation's most popular songs of freedom, Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Battalion! Take bayonet!
Please rise for the presentation of the colors and the playing of our national anthem. Please be seated.
Sergeant Major, ready to swarm. Get forward. Step. Draw. Swarm. Okay. Pound. Pound. Work. Work.
Ladies and gentlemen, the presiding official for our ceremony this morning is the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Eric M. Smith. Please rise for honors to General Smith and remain standing for the transfer of the Sword of Office. Since 1875, non-commissioned and staff non-commissioned officers have carried the NCO Sword as a symbol of their ability and prestige as enlisted leaders of the Marine Corps. As the senior enlisted leader of Marines and advisor to the Commandant, the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps is the keeper of traditions for the Corps. Today's emblematic passing of the Sword of Office signifies the transfer of this sacred trust from one Sergeant Major to another. Attention to orders. From Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps to Sergeant Major Troy E. Black, United States Marine Corps. Subject, relief of duties. Effective 10 August 2023, you will stand detached from your present station and duties as the 19th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. Signed, Eric M. Smith, General, United States Marine Corps. From Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps to Sergeant Major Carlos A. Ruiz, United States Marine Corps. Subject, appointment of duties. Effective 10 August 2023, you will proceed and report to Headquarters United States Marine Corps and assume the duties as the 20th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. Signed, Eric M. Smith, General, United States Marine Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Major Ruiz and Sergeant Major Black are now in the reviewing area for pass and review.
Aye, aye, Sergeant Major.
be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, flowers are now being presented to Sergeant Major Black's wife, Stacy, and Sergeant Major Ruiz's wife, Andrea, in honor of their devoted support. Ladies and gentlemen, the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Eric M. Smith.
Mike.
That's why he's the drill master. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for being here. General and Mrs. Berger, true privilege to have you home at the barracks. Really, really good to see you. Thank you for being here for your and our 19th Sergeant Major Marine Corps. I'm brief because there is a little bit of amphibious sunshine in the air. So we're going to make sure we make it out of here before it rains. But I do have to tell you what we did this morning. We promoted Ruiz to the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. We did it in the home of the Sergeants Major of the Marine Corps. Right there, quarters 2. The home of the Sergeants Major of the Marine Corps. He lived here. It used to be called Officers Walk. As an incredibly appropriate thing that was done by General Berger to place our Sergeant Major right there. So that every single enlisted Marine that comes to a parade and walks by says, that could be me one day. I could be the Sergeant Major Marine Corps. That's a powerful symbol of the love that the officers have for our enlisted Marines. We also presented an award to Sergeant Major Black. We did that privately inside, so Marines were not standing in formation while accolades are being given to senior people, because that's how Marines work. That's who we are. It's what we do. Sergeant Major Black, Stacy, and to your family, thank you for 3.5 decades of dedicated service and for more to come as you go on to be the Senior Enlisted Advisor, the 5th one, to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. We are incredibly grateful for your dedication, for your commitment, for your sacrifices, for your tenacity. I mean, if you want to know why our mascot's a bulldog, I mean, if you put Chesty and Troy Black together, hard to tell the difference. Because they're both tenacious. They're both tenacious. And they represent the office of the Sergeant Major Marine Corps and what they are required to do on behalf of the junior Marines. We have the Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chairman, CZ, and we have former Sergeants Major of the Marine Corps here with us today to honor the current Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps and the most recent Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. I knew y'all were here because I heard Ron Green this morning, so I was able to know that you were here. You do us all a great honor by being here as a team of Sergeants Major. For Sergeant Major Black, for Stacy, we're incredibly proud of you. We're incredibly grateful to you. There's nothing that I can say here in a couple of minutes that will properly show you how much we care about you and how much we appreciate your entire service through combat to here. We're grateful. There's not much I can say. You're peerless. Thank you. To the Ruiz's, Sergeant Major, looking forward to having you and Andrea here. You're in the home of the Sergeants Major of the Marine Corps. You have your family here. It is a true privilege. And in whatever capacity all of us are, you are our Sergeant Major. We have one, you. So every Marine, from the most junior Marine down there holding on to Chesty, to the most senior 3 stars, and myself, you are our Sergeant Major. You and Andrea have our complete commitment for you to be the standard bearer for what every enlisted Marine should strive to be, and you are a phenomenal role model for us all. Welcome aboard. Congratulations. I am looking forward to working with you, as all of us are, in whatever capacity you're in. or the Highlander Club. There could be only one, and it's you. Welcome aboard. Fair winds for a little bit and following seas to the blacks. It's great to have both of you here on deck. This is a momentous occasion. Thanks for what you both do and for what your families both do. Semper Fidelis.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 19th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, Sergeant Major Troy E. Black.
Okay, so good news for everyone. Normally when you're sitting here with a microphone in an event like this, the person speaking is going to talk about like 30 or 35 years of like their life and explain to you all the things from Lance Corporal to wherever they're at in the Marine Corps to today. But since this is not a retirement ceremony, you only get to hear about the last 4 in the same 35 or 40 minutes, so this is a good thing. I had some prepared notes, and as I was reading them, I said, why even do this? Because it never goes the way you put it on a card anyway. So I will keep it concise, and for a couple of reasons. Because one, it could rain any moment now, and the last time that our SEAC was here, it rained a lot. And so don't ever invite the SEAC to a parade because it's going to probably rain. So let's get through this. Yeah, remember that. Yeah, it didn't account for me though. So here we go. First and foremost, the chaplain. Everybody usually thanks the chaplain for the good weather. I'm not going to thank the chaplain for the good weather. I'm going to thank the chaplain for allowing those of us who are believers to walk the path that's placed in front of us. We have 2 choices in life: walk that path or not walk that path. And for all of us sitting here right now that are on the path that you're on, follow it, because there's only one reason it's provided to you. And if Stacy and I go out of this job and follow the path that's been laid for us, we will do that openly, and we will do it with faith, and we will do it walking in that light. So thank you, Chaplain, and thank you for more than just the weather. To everyone else that's here, let's keep the main thing the main thing. These Marines that were on the parade deck a moment ago represent the 30,000 plus Marines right now that are forward stationed and forward deployed across our globe. Clap for them. Over the last 4 years, I've had the privilege to serve with the senior enlisted of every single one of our services in the Department of Defense. Now, we're all biased here, and I'll say this amongst the folks that are here, but it is the Marines that are the best. Yeah, right. It does not matter where you go. When a problem needs to be solved, you usually get overstaff requests to M&R to have a Marine show up there and solve that problem. Thank you, General Glenn, for approving those things for the rest of our Department of Defense, because when a Marine shows up, the mission gets accomplished. And the Marines that are here right now for their tour of duty, they represent the entire Marine Corps, and everyone that views them. I had a chance to talk to them a couple of times in the last week, and I had to remind them, yes, you are an infantryman, and you are here, and you're doing something you did not sign on for, and your vision of the Marine Corps is what you're going to experience once you leave here and go out into the Fleet Marine Force and do that job. But for everyone who sees you, their vision of the Marine Corps is you. And so for that, I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to represent every single Marine in our Marine Corps over the course of the last 4 years. And I can go on for an hour or two about all the things our Marines have done throughout our history, but we don't need a history lesson, except for one. What I found out talking to the Marines this week was very few know that it was the United States Marine Corps that was the first to determine, I'm sure much internal grief, that we were going to be the first to have a senior enlisted that would partner with our Commandant, or our senior leader, the Marine Corps. And nearly a decade later, another service followed suit. I can't imagine the frustration the Commandant of the Marine Corps had at the time making such a bold decision that even inside the Marine Corps, people would be frustrated with because, well, why do we need that? I have a Sergeant Major. Why do we need another Sergeant Major? And yet here we are bringing in our 20th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, which is really today. We'll all be very humble about our salutations to the rest of the world, but today is about Carlos Ruiz being our 20th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and Miss Andrea being the better half of that pair. Please clap for them. Today's also about where our Marine Corps is at today and where it's going in the future. There was only 2 times in the last 4 years that I nearly have come to tears. One was the day that I came home after this ceremony and walked in those quarters, and Stacy and I sat down. We sat on what was not yet was Brian here? We had no couches in the house at the time because the Sergeant Major's home didn't have that. And we sat on this piece of equipment, the equipment we got from supply, and we sat there, and Stacy and I looked at ourselves and we said, can you believe that this is happening? And in a little while, Carlos, yourself and Andrea, who are very excited right now, are going to go in there and sit on the couches that are there now. And you're going to look at each other, and after you get done crying and your family comes back downstairs because you're overwhelmed with emotion, you're going to think to yourself, man, this did happen. Let there be no doubt to anyone in this crowd right now that you are the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. And for every single one of us who wear the cloth of Marines, for as long as we wear it, we have only one Sergeant Major, sir, and that's to your point. It is Sergeant Major Carlos Ruiz, better known as the Sergeant Major of the United States Marine Corps. The only other time that I almost came to tears in this job was about 3 weeks ago. When General Berger and Ms. Donna left our ranks. And the reason is because when you get the opportunity to do this job, it comes with a lot of people that got you here. I get the opportunity to look down the road here, Sergeant Major Jones, retired now, and he knows what Recruit Black was like. And I still feel some pain from when you were my drill instructor. In platoon 3050. And the journey we come on in our career, when we get an opportunity to work with a leader who can not just look but see, not just look at a problem but see the solution, not just look at the future but see how to get there, not to just look at their Sergeant Major but to see how to use them. And that last point was one of the tasks that General Berg gave to me in our very brief interview, because whether you know it or not, General Berger is not a man of many words unlike me, which is why we paired so well for the last 4 years to begin with. And he gave me 3 tasks, and one of them was expand the role and responsibilities of staff non-commissioned officers. It was to ensure every single Marine in the Marine Corps understood where the Marine Corps was going. And number 3, expand the roles and responsibilities of Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. And I thought about the last one for a moment, and I said to myself, man, that's pretty tough. And it wasn't, but after a couple of weeks, I understood. And what that was is the ability to empower all of our enlisted Marines by looking at the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps and saying, you are the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. And if we are going to be that fighting force, which this division is taking us to right now, is going to take leaders who don't just wear gold and silver on their collars. It's going to take staff non-commissioned officers and enlisted leaders to win that fight. And so, General Berger, I thank you, sir, for the task that you gave me. Unfortunately, I have to pass it on to Sergeant Major Ruiz to complete, but I don't think it's ever going to be completed because the task is endless. And it should be. Most importantly, over the last 4 years, Stacy and I have had the honor to work with Ms. Donna. And if you want to know what a power team is, look at Stacy and Donna. Because like me and General Berger, we are complete opposites in many ways, but absolutely alike in the same way we are Kubotas. If you know, you know. But the work that Stacy and Donna have done over the course of the last 4 years, picking up that torch from all of the previous commandants and sergeant major spouses, has just been eye-watering to see. And it has been a pleasure to be on your all's ride, because most of the time we just didn't get to say anything on the airplane and just listen, which was probably good, even for me. For everyone else here who's in attendance today, I'm going to have a long list of people that are here, and I'll miss 95% of you, so I won't even try to go down there. But if you're here right now, you're here for a purpose. If you couldn't make it, it was for a reason. And on behalf of Sergeant Major Ruiz and our entire Marine Corps, thank each and every one of you for being here right now to celebrate this day for Sergeant Major Ruiz. I once upon a time was doing a relief and deployment at 3rd Battalion, 7 Marines. Don't say it, Dan Krause. Because when you say 3-7, something comes behind that, but we are on camera and my mom's watching. I forgot to mention Stacy at the relief and appointment ceremony. And so I might forget most of you here, but I will never again forget First Sergeant Stacy Black, because she reminded me a moment after that's yes, ma'am. I made comment this morning, and I've meant it ever since. I know very many people in this audience right now for a little over 20 years, and most of us met about the same time that Stacy met me. And I say it that way because I did not meet her; she met me. And most of us know the story. But some people with ego might take the following statement incorrectly, but I hope you listen up. I was a really good staff sergeant when Stacy met me. I was really good. Probably the best staff sergeant in the Marine Corps. And then Stacy met me, and it's the only reason I stand here today. So, as many of us like to push off responsibility and push off recognition and push off the things we've done, I don't think any leader in our Corps will ever take credit for anything that they've ever done, but we sure do want to give the credit. And it's on the shoulders of those giants we stand on, and my giant is Stacy. Thank you, sweetheart. Now, there's a couple other giants I'm going to mention really quickly, and Stacy was getting some flowers. She goes, oh, these are really nice flowers. My son looked over, representing our 4 children. He's like, and I said, you get bacon. He smiled, and we're happy. So that's all good. Braden is here representing our children who are all doing all the things that they are doing in their lives and couldn't let them be here today. But you and your brother and your sister are the ones who really keep me and your mom going. And that's where I'm going to close. Don't ever think it's about you. I'm not talking to Carlos. I'm not talking to any of us that are here. I'm just kind of making a blanket statement that is the Marines that we serve. The Marines that we serve that allow us to continue to do the things that we do in order to move our Marine Corps forward, take care of their families, and continue to be the nation's finest fighting force. Last comment, and intentionally. Our former Sergeants Major of the Marine Corps are here right now, and I want to welcome them representing everyone that could not make it as well. But as we pass the torch on, gentlemen, to another Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and this is where I'll hand the microphone off, it comes with a whole lot of advice, whether you want it or not, but only when needed. And I have benefited greatly for the occasions that I've had the opportunity to speak to all of our Sergeants Major, because there's going to come a time where you're going to receive a problem and not know how to get the solution. And it's about that time you get a random text or a random phone call. And each one of them will start off by saying, I know you're busy, but I read this thing. Can you tell me more about that? And that's a way of saying, I read this thing. Can we talk about it? Because I have some advice for you. And it's been sound advice every single time. So to you gentlemen that set the stage and set the path for us, thank you very dearly. Thank you for your continued support of our Marine Corps, and thank you for being a voice to support the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, not a voice not to. We appreciate that. Thanks to them. And your ladies who came with you today. So with that, keeping in line with one of Stacy's best friends who we lost in 2006, Major Megan McClung, be bold, be brief, be gone, and I'm out of here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, Sergeant Major Carlos A. Ruiz.
I was trying to step off that thing. I can't figure it out yet. Good morning. How are we doing? Listen, if you don't mind, before the rain comes, I'm going to echo some of the comments from the Commandant, future Commandant, ACMAC, A/S. Sergeant Major number 19, and thanking everyone for taking the time to be here this morning. The very long list of special guests that are here, thank you. From Andrea and I, it's just a little overwhelming, right? I think what I'll go with next is the Marines that were in the field, the Marines that are in the back, the Marines that are behind the scenes, making sure that this thing goes off without a hitch. To you, thank you. And then I would like to turn to Joe Smith and Trish. Sir, thank you for being so kind, Trish. Thank you for being so welcoming to Andrea and I, coming from New Orleans and transitioning to big city, right? There have we been here more than 3 days, and before you know it, I'm paying $8 to park to go to Walmart. I'm like, what in the world? Thank you for the opportunity, General, and I will look forward to getting after it. And then to Troy and Stacy Black and beautiful family, you should be very proud of this last 4 years. You left nothing on the table. I'm sure you're exhausted. But what I need you to do, what all of us here need you to do, is to go home and just shut it down. Get on your tractor, put on that 8-track, whatever you have on it. Yes, I know that's what it is. And just relax. Shut it down, brother, because we'll need you back here in a couple of months. I'm so happy that you're just down the hallway from me. I can beg you here. Thank you for everything. I came here last night. I was standing right here at empty bleachers because I couldn't figure out, I couldn't get my thoughts together on what I wanted to convey to you. And so I came here and I stood here in empty bleachers staring back at me, and my mind was racing. This is kind of like a big deal, right? And I said, give me something, right? I'm talking to somebody here. Give me something. And then he hit me, and he hit me with 2 questions. And the first one was, who would come to fill these chairs? Who would come here? And then why? Why would they come here? And so, in this audience, and probably listening and looking right now, I have shared service with Marines, corpsmen, civilians for almost 30 years. Some of them, a short few months, some of them a couple of years, and others have watched their entire career and then retire and move on to do huge things. Each one of those relationships, to me, are unique. They're unique to them, but it could never have happened if we didn't wear the uniform, if we didn't serve. And so to my message to Marines, if I were to poll these people here this morning and say, what made you get on planes? What made you start driving 6 hours to come here this morning? I think the common answer would be that there were moments in our relationship, in our time together, where we bonded. Whether it was gut-busting laughter, or painful, whatever it was. Anything in between. It was those moments that intertwine our lives for the rest of our lives, and they show up. And so to Marines who are out there today, wherever their feet are in the Corps today, I would tell you, that is exactly where you're supposed to be. That is precisely what you're meant to be doing. Because all of us have something in common. It's this thing, this gut feeling, right, that propels you forward to put on a uniform and serve. And that thing, I think, is your soul. And it's your soul propelling you to move forward and take ownership of your destiny. This is where you belong. You're doing what you're meant to be doing. Tomorrow's fight will be won by the wisdom of the old and the innovation of the future. Hoorah! I would tell you not to give up, and remember the relationships that you build along the way, those things, that soul compelling thing that's making you step forward into danger or to take care of each other, will last a lifetime. I promise you. And so, I will ask from you that you take ownership of your place in our tribe, that you discipline yourself in that role, and to continue to demand from yourself more, to continue to demand from each other more, to continue to raise the standards. But I would caution, and I would want you to please understand when it's time to stop demanding and begin to encourage. To encourage. to give hope. And if you can build some type of hope with a relationship of your fellow Marine that you lead or that you follow, I promise you that you will start building your own little moments for the rest of your life. And they will drive, and they will fly, and they will show up. This is the great reward for service. You are exactly doing what you're supposed to do. To my beautiful Andrea, who thinks she's 6'2", but you're 5'2", I love you. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna break and speak in Spanish. To my mamá, mi papá y mi hermana, Alonso, muchas gracias por la oportunidad. Todos los sacrificios que me has dado, que ustedes han dado para estar aquí, ojalá que estén orgullosos de mí, porque yo soy muy orgulloso de ustedes. Okay? I love you. Right. And my beautiful daughters, you're growing up so fast. To Victor Jr., who continues to be the man in the house when I'm gone, thank you. I love you. Okay? And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the barracks. And don't run around here by yourself. The rest of you, thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day. Marines, I will see you on the field. Semper Fi, hoorah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony.